Amanda Jones. Valerie Maria Butler was one of my very good friends, and Megan Marie Ramshaw was my cousin. I'm doing this interview because I want to show young kids the effects of heroin on our generation. Today's my 25th birthday, and I'm standing here because my cousin couldn't. And I just want to let everybody know that it only takes once. Megan was such a fun-loving person. She loved life. She played sports, had a million friends, didn't care what anybody thought about her. All it took was once. She went to a party one night, she did it once, and we never seen her again. Same with Valerie. She went out, had a bad night, went out to try and forget it to the bar, met up with some guy she went to high school with, and he got her to do heroin, and it killed her. And as she was ODing, he drove around, and her nose was bleeding because she was ODing. He threw a hoodie over her face, and as she died, he threw her in the trunk of his car and dropped her body in Pruitt Farms. We searched for her for a month before he told us where she was, and he got unlawful disposal of a body. He got a 2-year sentence, and he's out today, and I don't have my friend. I will never see my friend again, and he gets to live his life. So I just want you to remember, when you think to do it, just think it's only going to take once. You can't think about it, you got to think about tomorrow. I know you're not thinking about it when you go to do it, but you have to think about tomorrow because you may not get it. Valerie just, she got into a fight with her boyfriend, and she just wanted to go out with her friends. She never thought in a million years she wouldn't come back. Never thought in a million years she would not come back.
And then she never did heroin before?
She never did heroin before. That was her first time. Paul had talked her into it. He was a commonly known drug dealer in Florissant, and he had talked her into it.
Hi, my name is Millie Palmer. I'm clinical supervisor with Preferred Family Healthcare's outpatient programming in St. Charles County, Lincoln County, and Warren County. I've been with Preferred for about 8 years. I've worked in the city programs, I've worked in the school programs, and now find home with the adolescents. And I just want to tell you a little bit about what I've been seeing, not just in my work life, but also personally with heroin addiction. Working with adolescents, one of the things that I see is a lot of prescription opiate use. And with that prescription opiate use, the kids find it real accessible. A lot of times they steal it from somebody's medicine cabinet. Maybe they've been prescribed it for a minor injury, and they begin using it on a regular basis. But prescriptions aren't as easy to get, and they become quite expensive. And so after a period of time, these people who start out innocently enough, maybe either experimentation or innocently using it as prescribed, begin abusing it, and they get to where they can't afford it any longer. And what we find sometimes with these people is they graduate, is the term we like to use, to heroin use. And they maybe have some misunderstandings about heroin today, is that it's clean, that it's really not a dirty drug. And so they begin snorting it. And as a result of it no longer being effective snorting it, again, they graduate to the needle and begin using it intravenously. And I kind of noticed that pattern a lot. Mainly when I went to go work in the adult programming, I would have a number of people come in with intravenous drug use, heroin intravenous drug use, and I would ask them in a admission process, when did you start? How old were you? What did you use? And a lot of them would say, I started off, drinking, smoking some pot, and then I started taking pills, and then it quit working or it got too expensive. And someone said to me, you should try using a needle, and you should try using heroin. It's cheaper and it's easier. $10 can get you a pretty good high. And when you put it in with the needle, it's euphoric and it's all at once, and it's really hard. We call it chasing the dragon. We call it a lot of things. It's just really hard for people to understand that something that feels so good is causing them such problems, and they start giving everything away. They give away their possessions, they give away their family, and lastly, they usually give away their dignity. And they find they don't even know themselves anymore. So not only do they are they using this lethal drug, and not only are they doing all of this stuff, but they get to the point where they don't even know themselves anymore, and they almost take on this ultra ego or this other personality, and they become somebody they don't even recognize. And I know I work with the families a lot of young people and older people alike, and see that. And most recently I was working with a lady, and she had been a nurse, and about 15 years ago she was prescribed opiate painkillers for a back injury, and she found herself addicted to them, and she was taking 30 and 40 a day. And about 45 days ago, she started using the needle and heroin because she just couldn't afford it. She's lost her nursing license, she's lost her home, she's lost her family. And the interesting thing is, because she can't work anymore, she doesn't have insurance. And so she came to me looking for help, and I couldn't find a place for her. None of the detox programs, had any money to take someone without insurance. And so a lot of times we find these people going over into psychiatric units because they become suicidal or homicidal, or they just lose any ability for reality at this point. And they may be on a 3-day hold at a psych ward, and then they're let go because there's nowhere for them to go. And that's kind of a scary thing. It perpetuates all these problems. The psych wards are full with drug addicts, and then the prisons are full with drug addicts. And that becomes a huge cost to our society, our communities. So I think there's got to be a better way, maybe a way that we can help these people. We can help them with prevention. I talk a lot about early identification of a problem. If we can help that person who's just got started abusing opiate painkillers and prescriptions and identify that as a problem, then we can help them further in any disease. I don't care if it's cancer, I don't care if it's heart condition. If you catch a disease early, you treat it early, the outcomes are so much better. So if we can get them before they get into the needle, then we've done something. And I want to just give a good, for hope. There is hope. People do recover from this disease, but it takes a community. It takes getting involved. It takes rallies. It takes legislation. It takes funding. It takes all of those things to make a difference. And it can't just be the people who've lost someone. It has to be everybody. The other things I'd like to mention is that there has been some budget cuts in Department of Mental Health and in Medicaid for people with addictions. We began to believe that it wasn't cost effective to treat drug addicts because we see them come back over and over again. But relapse rates are about 70% for drug addicts. Relapse rates for diabetes, which what I mean by diabetes relapse rates, someone might be free of insulin, or they might be insulin controlled, and then 70% of the time they relapse and end up back in the hospital. 70% rates for relapse in psychosis, 70% relapse into most diseases, especially if left untreated. So, this is where I think the idea that it's a social problem, it's not a disease, perpetuates funding cuts. If there's going to be something cut, drug addiction is one of them. And as a result of those cuts, what we see is increase in psychiatric units and an increase in prison intake. It's not like this problem's going away, it just shifts from another area and costs us in a different way. I would like to see that the funding make more sense. So I would like to see more preventative programs. I would like to see, we talk about, I had an experience recently where I was told, we were wanting to do a survey in a school, and there was concern that 6th graders wouldn't know what the word smack was, and would that be offensive to some parents? And my thing is, if they don't know, they should. I don't think anyone wakes up one day and says, I want to be a junkie. That's not how that happens. What happens is it's slow and insidious. So if we can teach our young people the dangers of using certain drugs, we are not going to save them all. I mean, that's an unrealistic goal. But if we can stop some of them from starting, I think we've done a lot. And then I would also like to see some more money in early identification of the problem and in early interventions. And then I'd also like to see more funding for detox programs. And we've even talked about funding for outpatient detox programs where medication-assisted detox. We find that our outcomes are better when people have help. It's a physical change in the brain's chemistry, so it requires from physical change requires help with medications, and it's not all in their head. Well, actually, it is all in their head, but it's not all in their head in that it's not psychological. These people are very ill, so if we can help the symptoms, the outcome of them staying clean is much better. If you think about it, if you've had the flu times 20, about 3 days into it, you're really, really sick. You're not going to die, but you're going to wish you're going to die, and you know that if you get your next fixed, you're going to be okay. Rationale goes out the window. You can't white knuckle it and pull yourself up by your bootstraps. If you have some medication that might help you to reduce those symptoms, you're better off in the long run. You're going to stay clean longer. Your brain chemistry returns to normal, and then the information that is given to you makes more sense because the strong physical need is gone.
Weather is getting cold, so this is pretty much going to be it for this year. Early next year, the first thing we're going to do, it's going to be Friday, April 23rd. And if you're friends with me on Facebook or Ed, all the information is there. We're going to be going to Jefferson City, and we're going to be doing a rally, and then we're also going to be doing a march on the Capitol to prove that people can't recover from heroin addiction, and that there's help out there, and there's certain laws that need to get passed that we will hopefully have on the Senate floor next year. In order to make our presence known, we need thousands of people to come with us to Jefferson City. We are arranging buses and hotels, and every accommodation that we possibly need is going to be taken care of. So please pay attention, because the more people that get there, the more support we have, the more changes we can make for Missouri.
And it doesn't even stop just at Jefferson City. We're going to try to get rallies in all the state capitals that we can possibly get on that same day. The capital of Illinois, Springfield, is already in the works. People are already getting the buses. And we've got people in Boston and in about 10 states already, and we're going to try to get 20 or 25 states to make it a truly national event. Okay, moving on. If I can ask Mayor Guccione to come out here for just a moment. Has everyone met Mayor Guccione today?
Yeah, thank you everybody for coming out today. This cold day, this is awesome. Good turnout, I appreciate it. My niece and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law really appreciate it from the bottom of the heart for you coming out and supporting this. And maybe we'll save some lives. I thank Ed and Chad for putting this together and organizing this for me. Bring awareness to the city of Wentzville. We're not the drug capital, but we do have an issue here in Wentzville and across the county and the state. And it's important that people get involved to make a difference, and you are making a difference. So God bless you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing this for us. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Don't go yet. And Mayor Guccione, for the first time ever, we want to thank the mayor from the bottom of our hearts, because what the mayor managed to do for this movement, we've been growing and growing and trying every way we can do to get people's attention. Mayor Guccione took it upon himself to get not only Wentzville involved, but the area involved and the nation involved. If you didn't get the chance to see the mayor's press release that he's going to be rallying with us today, it went nationwide through the Associated Press. And for that, we are so grateful, because that's how you get the word out. And in recognition of that, we're doing something today we've never done before, and that's to give an award to the mayor from the bottom of our hearts. And I'll read it to you. It says, the St. Louis Rally Map. This certificate is awarded to Mayor Nick Guccione for faithful, dedicated, and outstanding service to the anti-heroin rally group of St. Louis. Very sweet, very simple, and it has a little person standing everywhere where we've rallied. Thank you so much for supporting.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
And one last announcement before the picture. If you're on Facebook and we're not friends yet, I've got a notepad. Please give me your name. I'll be sending out friend requests to everybody I'm not already friends with. All the hundreds of pictures that were taken today, the video that was taken today, all of these things are posted on Facebook later over the next day or two. The group picture that we're about to be a part of will be the first thing posted. It will be up in 2 or 3 hours. And then over the next day or two, our two photographers will be posting all the hundreds of pictures that they've taken. Be patient. We know everybody wants their pictures, and they want them now, but it takes a little bit of time, so just check back. And we will tag each and every name in the group picture that I have on my paper today. So if you haven't given me your name yet, please do it after we take the group picture. Thank you all so much for coming.
Next week, we're going to be in Union, Missouri. Information is available if anybody wants to come out next weekend.
And everyone, if you don't have anything going on tomorrow, we're going to be in Arnold, Missouri.
Vogel and Richardson.
Yes.
Corner of Vogel and
We're
Richardson.
supporting a family that just lost their Trevor. He's been gone less than a year. So if you don't have anything to do, you don't have to come out for the whole 3 hours, but we'll be there from 12 to 3.
And our last guest, Chief Harrison, the Chief of Police for the City of Wentzville.
Hi, thank you all so much for coming out. I applaud you. The police cannot be everywhere at one time, so it takes citizens like you standing up against this problem that we have to assist us. That's the true spirit of community policing. We have to have your help to do our job, because we can't be everywhere at once. I just want to thank you so much for coming out, and thank you so much for bringing awareness to this subject, because it is out there. We can't hide behind, oh, it's just Wentzville. Well, we have the same problems that other communities have as well, and so I thank you and I applaud your efforts.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody, picture time.